So I've been thinking about something through recent life moments, and I realized that if you want to get ahead of 99% of people in terms of today's world, especially if you want to do that within the next year, here's what it's not going to look like. It's not just going to be being motivated. It isn't even about just being disciplined either, because I've done or tried to do both of those things without much success in my own life. And really, even if you're the smartest person, that's not part of it either. If you get up at 4:30 a.m. and drink or stop drinking $5 caramel macchiatos, that's not going to change anything. If you are going to drink $5 coffees from Starbucks, go right ahead, because the only thing that is going to change the needle or move the needle is the motion that you actually put forth in terms of effort. And now, don't get me wrong, just like I do, there are a bunch of videos all over YouTube that basically preach getting up and being motivated and started at 4:30 a.m. and meditating and all kinds of stuff. None of that is a silver bullet directly to wealth ever, which then begs the question, or at least it did for me, what do I have to do to be ahead of 99% of people in the next year? I want to take a moment to paint a picture for you. So let's step back into the 90s where Jeff Bezos actually was talking to his first investor. See, Jeff Bezos, back in the 90s, him starting to sell books online was unheard of at the time. And what's even more, he even told his earliest investor that his company was going to be worth billions one day and he would be the richest man in the world. Was he lying? Absolutely not. But mind you, this is directly before the dot-com bubble. Again, he said this directly before the dot-com bubble. Do you know how much courage you have to do in order to say that type of thing before a dot-com bubble? But Jeff Bezos believed that he could, so in fact, he was right. So my first point is you have to believe in you because no one else will. And simply put, only you have the vision and opportunity to see the vision that God gave you. So the only person that you can absolutely count on is you in this situation apart from him. But can I be really honest with you really quick? If you don't already have this innate ability to believe in yourself, it will take practice and you can do it. And I know because I had to fight back to a certain point in my life after a traumatic experience that I almost gave up hope in terms of life in general. So I know that if you don't have this skill or if it's lacking at any point, it can be restored. You just have to believe that it will. But if it's messy right now, that's okay. Go through the process. And my way of practicing this process was scripture and prayer. Yours will be different, and that's totally fine. But for everything that is good in the world, please do it. Now, this may come from a conversation with a friend or a family member. It may actually come from a book or something that you listen to inside of a podcast. Whatever it happens to be that sparks it, please pay attention to it when it actually happens and don't ignore it. Now, to speak to this point, I recently watched a Roy Williams interview where he spoke about Michael Jordan and his work ethic. And specifically, Roy Williams told Michael Jordan that he wasn't working hard enough if you want to get to that level. Everyone else in this gym is doing exactly the same thing that you're doing. What are you going to do different? He came back to him the next few days and said, no one is going to outwork me. And the work will only be put in if you believe that you can do the work. Well, take Will Smith, for example. He said out of his own mouth that there are many actors that are more talented and more skilled in all these other kinds of accolades than him, but you don't see them. You only or have seen him. But exactly why is that? Well, for me, or at least the way that I look at it, it's because he believes that no one else can do the things that he does, and literally he walks in it every single day, or has in the past in his life. Specifically, when he was playing Ali, he had to train for over a year just to be physically ready for that particular film. Having the mindset to actually do that means that you believe that you can play Ali. All this to say, every single person that has ever accomplished anything substantial in their lives, they always understood that it starts with them believing in their dream because no one else will. But most people that somewhat are successful will make it seem like the getting up at 4:30 a.m. and meditating and all that kind of stuff is the reason why they were successful. No, the reason why they were successful is because they just chose not to believe anybody else's hype but their own. Because the truth is, every successful person achieved that amount of success because they were relentless and ruthless in their work. Regardless of what came at them, they did the work, put their heads down, and got it done. And the old saying is very true here: hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Let's say, for example, we had two people, one that was talented but didn't necessarily work very hard and they kind of just coasted through life, and the other that's a very hard worker but their talent seems to be lacking. What you would see over the time period of maybe even a year, if the person that is hardworking and continues to do it over and over and over again and stays with it, they actually become better than the person with the talent in general, because what they've practiced or what they've figured out is, as many times as I do this, I'm going to get better, even 1% better. And this is a complete hot take, but talent is overrated in my opinion, because no amount of talent could have produced the greatest performer of all time. No amount of talent could have produced the greatest shooter in the NBA of all time. No amount of talent could have produced the greatest boxer of all time. None of that is just due to talent. They worked their tails off to get to where they were. So that's the exact same thing, or the same advice that I would give to you in step one. Never ever stop working on your dream until you get there. Now, the second thing that you need to do is work harder than anyone else in the room. Take Kobe Bean Bryant, for example. Now, most people in NBA history know that he was one of the most prolific scorers that the NBA has ever seen. And he's probably one of the more clutch players in NBA history, being a part of hundreds of moments that were basically career defining in his career. But what most people don't know is he holds the record for the most missed shots in the NBA, with over 14,000 shots missed of the 30,000 that he took, because Kobe understood one thing: the law of large numbers. He understood that the more shots I take, although 50% of them might miss, the more shots I take, the more I'm going to hit. And the old adage is, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So he understood this and took a lot of them, even to the point of pissing off some of his teammates and making Phil Jackson's life really, really turbulent. But again, this was a game that Kobe was playing in his head, the law of large numbers. And if you understand this, you will win in every single area of your life, because you literally would just keep putting up shots every single time that you need to. Now, let's take, for example, that you flip a coin 50 times, and after 50 coin tosses, you get an 80-20 split, 40 heads, 10 tail. Well, what would happen if you flipped it even more times? Let's say 500 more times. Well, then you would get closer and closer to 50%, or a 50-50 split. But in order to see that result, you would have to stay diligent enough to keep flipping the coin up to 500 times. Not everyone wants to do that or has the capacity or patience to actually get that done. And you may be saying to yourself, that's cool and all, Joel, but what does that have to do with me and my progression over 99% of people? Because here's the simple truth: you literally just have to take more shots. That's it. We all want to live a financial free life. We want to do the things that we want to do when we want to do it, with the people that we want to do it with. But this was a realization that I had to come to myself, and I'm passing this off to you. I wasn't reading, I wasn't trying to better myself at any point, and I definitely wasn't doing anything in terms of business ventures or researching business ventures. But because I failed, it didn't give me a license to just give up and quit, although I almost did. That was a process. It was not easy. It was not something that I wanted to engage in every single day, but I sat in it for as long as I needed to, at least until I was sparked to start these channels that I have on YouTube now. So my encouragement to you would be, give it another try. Ask again. Do it again. Try again. If you failed before, it's probably because you were looking at someone else's journey and they were far way ahead of you, and you started comparing. Never compare your journey to someone else's 20th chapter. If you're starting now, it's going to look different. And if you can, find a mentor that's going to challenge you to do it in a different way. Sort of a mentor of mine has been Myron Golden. He has no idea about this, but he has literally taught me how to take myself from point A to point B in terms of financial security and wealth over the past few months. Now, am I there yet? No, but I'm working on it every single day. And that's because of his guidance and his motivational speaking in my ear every single day. So find a mentor, even if it's someone from far off from you that is doing what you want, and actually model it. And he actually has a saying that has stuck with me for months now: everything works, but are you becoming the person that it can work for? Now, all this means is, again, I'm reiterating this point. You have to take more shots. The more shots you take, the more you understand what needs to change in the next shot. And then you change it again, and then you change it again, and so on. So that means find a new business or start a new side hustle that you enjoy doing. And this channel is going to be geared to finding and doing all types of stuff like that in terms of code, side hustles, and all types of business ventures and personal finance opportunities. So if you haven't subscribed already, I'd appreciate and love to have you around here on The Blerdy Investor. But whatever that thing happens to be that you are going to choose, you have to be willing to commit to it to the long haul and commit to the process of it being messy at first. After that point, after that honeymoon period has subsided, become obsessed with that thing. Case in point, how do you think that Questlove became such an amazing drummer? He just played the drums day in and day out, to the point where now when you look at him, it looks effortless. The more he played, the better he got. Day by day, month after month, year after year. And again, to the point where his level of musicianship, it looks like he's just playing literally, because he's done it so many times over the course of his life. It just looks gracefully effortless. And like I said, this channel is geared towards finding all types of side hustles, business ventures, and all kinds of stuff like that, and understanding how to use code to make life easier. So if you haven't already, please feel free to go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any of those types of videos. But if you want to get ahead of 99% of people, you have to believe in yourself and then take shots as much as possible, and then more availability for your success to actually grow. Put simply, you just have to be willing to do more than 99% of people are willing to do, because I firmly believe, especially now, that you can accomplish anything you want in this life. And if you need motivation, feel free to use my journey as your catalyst to your own, because if no one has told you this today, I believe in both of us. So please believe in you. You're awesome. You're amazing. I'm rooting for you. Until next time, blurt out.